Hello and welcome to Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV. And today we're back at the Motorist in Yorkshire for Cars and Coffee featuring French. And we kick off with this beautiful Peugeot 306 S16. I can't remember the last time I've seen a 306, let alone an S16. This example even had the S16 brochure on the back shelf. Next up we have a 106 Rally. The Rally is identified with a red and yellow stripe, and it says steel wheels. This looks as if it's had a lot of money spent on the engine bay. It's got an emerald K6 ECU, I believe. Now, I think in the Phase 1 rallies, they were only available with the 1.3 engine. And in the interior-wise, it was pretty basic. You've got wind-up windows, a three-spoke steering wheel, and some red carpet. Just check out this Renault Aventine, a bit of French luxury from the early 2000s. Just check out that gorgeous interior. I believe this is an automatic, and its rear end could be inspired by the Renault Megane. I think this was designed by Patrick Leclermont. One thing I'm not so sure about would be the doors in a car park, because they're massive. One of so many Renault Clios here today, this example being a Clio Trophy. Looks good in the red. It's powered by, I believe, a 2-litre 16-valve engine. And then we've got a more modern Clio. This is the Renault Sport Clio. As if it's been breathed on by K-Tech Tuning. Then we have a Renault Megane Cup. This looks good on the Team Dynamic alloy wheels. And with the little black details like the badges and the roof and the spoiler tip, it goes really well with the yellow. Next up we have a more modern Renault. This is the Arcana. I'm not sure where in the lineup this would sit, if it was a sort of replacement for like the Megane or say the Laguna. We've seen this little DS3 before at the Motorist, last time being at the Furious Driving Social, but I thought I'd just feature it again. This is the Performance Edition, I believe, and is a member of the Motorist 50 Club. It's just the little details that make this car. Just check out the Performance, DS Performance brake calipers. It's a great little car. Next up we have a Mark II Renault Megane Renault Sport. This car was a bit controversial when it was first launched back in the early 2000s, mainly due to that ass. But who remembers the song Shake That Ass? Was it Basement Jaxx that sang that song? Moving on to a more modern Citroen, this is the Citroen C5X. And here's an old school Citroen, this is a Citroen DS. These cars are really fantastic looking. Anyway, back to the C5X. Moving on to an older Citroen, we have a 2CV6. And fans of Hubnut know all about the Citroen 2CV. I managed to go for a passenger ride in a Citroen 2CV at the Practical Classics and Restoration show, and even as a passenger, this car is so much fun. You don't have to have a Renault Sport Clio to look cool. Subtle little touches like black badges, a sun strip, wind deflectors makes this little Clio stand out from the crowd. Even with a little spoiler and the rear has been de-wipered, it's a cool little car. Let's have a closer look at this Citroen DS. These cars were so ahead of the time when they were launched, weren't they? Now, I believe this is a DS5 and is also a member of the Citroen Car Club. Coming into the car park now is this Peugeot 205 CTI, the convertible version of the GTI. And say hello to Peggy, the 205 Automatic. Another Renault Sport Clio here. I'm not sure if that's the standard splitter the car's wearing or if it's one of these Maxton design splitters. And next up is my own Cactus, the C4 Cactus. Not carrying any bread today in the roof rack, just a couple of wine bottles and a skateboard. And the car doesn't look too bad for a 247-mile journey down to the Motorist this morning. And let's have a closer look at this 205 CTI. So the convertible version of the 205 was styled by Pininfarina, I believe. And I think the 205 really looks good as a convertible as well as a hatchback. Back in the mid-2000s, Peugeot, Citroen and Toyota joined forces to build their own city bug cars. This is a Peugeot 107, but you could also get this as a Citroen C1 or a Toyota Aygo. I believe this is powered by a Toyota engine which can trace its lineage back to a Daihatsu engine. It was always good to see a little 107 or a C1 or an Aygo at these meets. Another Renault Sport Clio here. This has definitely got a Maxton design splitter on the front. I can just see a little logo peeking out. And here we have a Peugeot 206 GTI 180. This car is currently for sale. And this would have been like a rival to the Citroen Saxo or the Peugeot 106 or the Ford Fiesta. This is the first time I have ever seen a Peugeot 104 in the metal. And this was a barn find about 8 or 9 years ago and was bought for the price of £205 on eBay. Later in the video, you'll see the original eBay advert for this little car. But my word, what a gorgeous little car. Here we have a Citroen Zara exclusive 1.8. And I had the opportunity to have a wee sit-in of this car. And I've got to say, it's really comfy. And who remembers the Zara being advertised by Claudia Schiffer? The coupe version it is. Here's a little 2CV coming in. I believe this is a Beachcomber edition. Let's have a closer look at this little 2CV. You can see why I'm a fan of these cars. They're just so quirky, just like that little pool ball on the gear lever. The windows you just push up. Simple motoring and so much fun to boot. Another car that I'd like to add to my dream garage, but the Playmobil model will have to suffice for the moment. Here we have a Peugeot 205 CJ. Looking so 1990s with the colourful interior. Why don't we have car interiors like that nowadays? Instead of the sort of grey, drab materials that are used. Again, this was styled by Pininfarina. And talking of 205s, if you've watched our Bring Back Max Power series, then you'll know what a 205 dimmer is, as this was the first car Max Power ever featured in their magazine. And there's the little friend in the back. Next up we have a 1.6 GTI. You could also get the 205 GTI in a 1.9 as well. Moving on, we've got another 205 convertible. This is a Gutmann or a Gutmann edition. I'm guessing that Gutmann or Gutmann was another tuning company, and I'm guessing they were maybe German. And next to that we have a Track 205. So we've got some sparkle bucket seats in there. Nothing in the back. Harnesses, and just check out that cheeky little centre exit exhaust. Oh, we're going back to have another look at this little Gutmann or Gutmann convertible. Then we have the 309 GTI. Now, I'm not sure if I prefer the 309 or the 205. I'm quite taken with both, but I think over them I'd take the 309. Because it's just different. And another sort of track spec 205, or maybe a rally 205, judging by the rally flaps on the car. Remember that little 104? Well, there's the original eBay advert, and look at the condition the car was in. Does this have a Ross Kemp in the boot? Made famous by Jeremy Clarkson on a Top Gear review is the Renault Twingo. I'm sure Mr. Needham really liked the road test that day on the Renault Twingo. Mr. Needham asked for a sensible review, and Clarkson obliged. It was a sensible review, even if Ross Kemp died. I missed this Renault Laguna the last time I was down at the Motorist for Cars and Coffee featuring Renault. But just check out this Mark 1 Laguna. It's been well kept, it's a RT, and the condition of this car is testament to the owner. It's not very often you see a Mark 1 Laguna. Really nice. Moving from the Laguna, we have the Citroen C5 Estate, and this is one of the last hydropneumatic Citroens, or the fancy suspension. The owner had to travel a bit to get this car, but he got this car with only 5 miles on the clock. And next up, we have a stunning little convertible, and it's a Renault Megane. I just think this looks absolutely stunning. It really looks good in white. And if you follow Mark on Motoring on YouTube, then you'll know about Mark's Renault Megane Coupe. This is Mark's daily driver. This is his Renault Megane, I believe it's a signature model. And if you want to know more about this car, then check out Mark's video on his channel, Mark on Motoring. And we have a Citroen DS21. I just think these cars are really gorgeous. Imagine this car when it was launched back in the day. It just looks so space age. The interiors look space age. It also looks a nice, comfy place to be. And this one's got these sort of chrome wheel trims fitted, where the DS to behind it doesn't. And next up we have a Peugeot 407 Coupe. Peugeot had the 406 Coupe, so when the 407 came out, Peugeot also launched the Coupe version 407. And any French car meet can't be without our Citroen Saxo, in this case a facelift one. And this looks like a little track car, judging by the yellow cooling fans behind the grille. This is a VTS model. And we finish our look at the Cars and Coffee featuring French with this Peugeot 205, which I thought was like an XS or a GT. It turns out it's actually a D-turbo or a diesel turbo. Anyway, I'd just like to thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV, and we'll catch you in another video very soon. As always, thank you for your support to the channel. Farewell.